Good morning, Fayetteville, surrounding areas, friends. What a great Thursday morning it is. A little dippy this morning. Hope you're out there moving around and getting going in your great day. I am Commissioner Davis, Dr. Davis, Pastor Chris Davis here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I'm just glad to be with you today. Listen, today is going to be an amazing show. I have some information to share with you, and I have an opportunity to share with you, and I'm so excited about what's going on. Again, this is Chris Davis. First, I want to give a shout out to Wes and Sandy for being amazing hosts, for being amazing entrepreneurs. Dr. Brinkley for being in the studio with me, as well as all of you, our friends and our family, the WIDU Network family. Today, I wanted to give you a call and come into your home and your heart and your ears about a very important topic. As you know, I do a lot of things in the community, my wife and I, right? We're really committed to this community. We serve in so many different capacities. And we have a consulting business. My wife's a chef. I serve public service. She serves public service on boards and commissions. We're pastors, dads, granddads, grandmoms. We are really committed to this community. And so I believe today what we're going to be talking about is going to be transformational potentially to very important parts of your life. So today I have the honor of opening this conversation up, bringing information forward, putting some data out there, and then inviting you to help me carry this conversation forward. Today I'm going to be talking about security for faith-based spaces. I'm going to say that again. Security for faith-based spaces. I'm a part of a team. I joined a team called Axial Security Group a few months ago, my wife and I. And Axial Security Group is a private security company here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I joined the team because we recognize that in certain areas of our society, that security is still yet a challenge. If you look at schools, at the football games, basketball games, our police forces, our sheriff department, they are stretched so thin that we were a part of a conversation where my wife and I joined a group that is serious about addressing security in soft target areas, safe spaces, and faith spaces in this area, in this region. So that's right. Today, Dr. Chris is going to be talking about a very important event that we've planned along with Axial Security Group, at least 100 churches. I mean, we're really getting so much buzz for faith-based organizations and churches, and that I had to speak to Dr. Brinkley and Uncle Wes about bringing this information to you. Again, we are hosting on January 17th, 2026, the first ever faith-based security expo. That means churches, faith-based organizations, rec centers, all of those areas that we know are extremely important to the heart, mind, and spirit of our community. So again, I'm Dr. Chris, and I want to start this conversation with you, and I want to give you, throughout this hour, I want to share some facts with you, because you have to have fact and data-driven information in order to set the conditions for real solutions. Again, facts and data-driven information sets the condition for solutions. So let's begin this conversation. Again, how did I get here? Well, I was having a conversation with a gentleman by the name of John Boyd. And we were talking about some of the challenges we see in our schools. My daughter, Lily, is 10 years old, and she goes to Email with Honeycutt. And we noticed that throughout the day, based on what we've seen in the news, recent events, ongoing events, that our education systems, our ministries, that they're all soft targets. And we know we've seen the tragedy on the news year after year after year of our worship places, where men and women and just evil people have just created an aura of havoc around our safe spaces and our faith spaces. Listen, a wise man once told me, evil doesn't need a reason to be evil. And so what's sadly enough is that we're left as a community attempting to pick up the pieces when tragedy strikes. And so with that in mind, I began to have conversations with the owner of Axios Security Group. And we came up with a concept that we hope, we believe, we know will at least give you information. But we hope that it will empower you and inspire you if you're a member of a church, if you're a member of a nonprofit, if you use a nonprofit space, that you make sure that you are at least mentally prepared to take care, provide security, be aware of, be educated in, safe space being your faith space. And so that's how this conversation started. So number one, I wanted to say this, that houses of worship and faith spaces, they are one of the biggest soft targets in the United States of America. You have nothing to do but to look at the TV, and at any point in time, we've seen tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. We've seen lives broken and destroyed because safe spaces are at a high time premium, and we're lacking them, both in the education system and in churches. And so John Boyd, who's the CEO of this company, Axios, who happens to be a pastor, who happens to be a man of God, came up with the concept, he and I, of how can we empower our churches by educating them, making them aware, and giving them tools. How can we empower and harden up those soft areas? We're talking education for elementary school and middle schoolers. We're talking about churches, daycare centers. There's so many areas where the most intimate, sincere, valuable parts of our lives, our children, we invest them into these areas. But are they hard? Are they protected? Are they really protected? Or will we continue to simply move back and forth between tragedy and discussion, tragedy and discussion? I'll be honest with you. I felt really frustrated each and every time there's a tragic event that involves a soft space where our young people are. And then we have all these legislative conversations, we have hearings, we have commercials, we have declarations. And then when you look at how much work we're putting into making these places safe space, you get disappointed. And so shout out to John, Bethany Abbott, myself, and our security team for making sure that this event is important. So I want to share 10 facts with you, and I gave you the first one already. Do you know that houses of worship are one of the top soft targets located in America? Are you aware of that? Elementary schools, houses of worship. Think about how important those spaces are to our lives, especially in Fayetteville, where there's so many ministries. There's so many community, smaller ministries. How important is your security in your faith space? And trust me, I'm a pastor. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in the angels. I believe in God's ability to protect us. But because I believe in it doesn't mean that I should not prepare myself for what my responsibility is. After I pray, after I trust God, I still got to be prepared. And so as a ministry, I need you to hear me, ministries, leaders, deacons. This is an opportunity to be in an environment where security professionals are giving free information, where security professionals are providing an experience through the expo, where you're going to be able to see not simply commentary, discussions, but tactics, techniques, procedures. You're going to hear some of the industry's best technologies. You're going to be able to embrace and hear some of the smartest people in this space give you information, resources, and access in order to make sure that your faith space is a safe space. And again, we're in contact with the Department of Education. We're having conversations with them, and we're open to helping any nonprofit organization, any profit organization who sees your place of revenue as a soft space. And that's why we're doing this. So Department of Homeland Security classifies churches as high-risk soft targets. Department of Homeland Security classifies churches as high-risk soft targets. Why? Number one, they're open. And we want our churches to be open. We want it to be a place where people can come, and we do so much marketing now. All churches are marketing their ministries. We're getting back to pre-pandemic flow. We're trying to, at least. We're inviting people back into a place of worship. And we want our worship place to be a safe space. But it's open, it's often crowded, and it's minimally guarded. Think for a moment, is that true or not for your place of worship? It's an open space on Sunday. We're focused on God. We've come to worship together. Where two or three gather, God's in the midst. It's crowded. There are a lot of people packed into that area, and it's minimally guarded. That's a reality. It's funny because I begin to take that same assessment and think about my church and my ministry. And of course, we've taken steps. I'm a combat guy. We've taken legal steps to make sure that we're covered and that we've got our gaps covered visibly, that we've got personnel in place, that we are aware of what our jobs and duties are. Security is real. And this is not, in the name of Jesus, this is not to make you afraid. This is to make you aware that there is a real enemy out there, that there are real possibilities. And we had a conversation, John and I, and he said the sad thing is, brother, they only have to be right one time. They've only got to be lucky one time. And if we're not on our job, if we're not giving people these tools, churches, ministries, these tools, then we do them a disservice. So the first thing is, houses of worship are soft targets in America. We've seen it on the news. That's a reality. Soft targets account for over 80% of the active shooter incidents outside of shootings at schools and workplaces. Soft targets, they represent 80%. 80%. So that's the first point. Did you also know that church violence has steadily increased over the last 20 years? That's point two. As you think about your Sunday worship plan, pastors, consider security. As you think about your big conference, and now there's so many empowering conferences that we're facilitating in and around this area. The body of Christ is, we're truly reaching outside of the walls again. If you're planning a community event, if you're planning to open up your worship space for after-school programs or single parent seminars, all the things that churches are beginning to do to give real life additional tools, real life enhancement opportunities for parents and families. Why? Because we're trying to bring people back into the house of God. As you do that, you must, I encourage you, I implore you to think about security concerning your worship space, because churches and violence, those trends have gone up over the last 20 years. And here's data, because I'm giving you data research-driven information today. Why? Because I want to set the table. Today is the first day I'm introducing this concept. On next Thursday at 9 a.m., the entire team's going to be here. And we're going to talk through what the expo looks like, where it came from. You're going to be able to hear from Mr. John Boyd. He's not here today because he's in D.C. Talking to legislators about this very topic, about our safe spaces, our soft spaces being protected. The Center of Homicide Research reports that violence in churches have tripled since 1999. This doesn't include just shootings, arsons, assaults, and domestic spillover. Sad to say that as the world continues to fall away, as the world continues to, as prophetically it is in the Bible, do what it's doing, we must protect our worship spaces. We must be aware that we are fighting against a spiritual demon who can manifest, a spiritual enemy who can manifest his desires in a natural way, acting on people, acting through people. And so the second thing is that the homicide research says that violence in churches has tripled since 1999. That includes shootings, arsons. I think a year or so ago, we saw there was a string of burning churches being burnt down in the South. Like, that has been a sad reality in the faith community for years. When people can't get to the people, they attempt to destroy the property. Assaults and domestic spillover. So churches have been under duress for the last 20 years in a more and ever increasing way. The third point is this: firearms are the largest method of deadly attacks on churches. Firearms, it's a reality. A lot of legislative leaders tell us with the freedom to bear arms comes a responsibility. Sadly enough, there are people who obtain firearms who aren't responsible. And that's a legislative prerogative. That's a legislative issue, a legislative challenge. All across America, there are certain states and regions who are fighting to make gun ownership more accountable. They're not there yet. We're not there yet as a country. But what are we going to do as ministries until we get there? We're supposed to be as cunning as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove. Christ is the Lamb of God, but he's also the lion. So I'm putting this out there so that you can understand that there's a reality here that exists. It exists. Firearms are the leading method of deadly attacks in churches. Approximately 60% of all deadly church shootings involve firearms. And they remain the highest, but they also involve knives, physical assaults, bombings. Those are real things that we who are leaders in the faith industry have to face. As a pastor, I'm often praying for major events. Even if it's not my event, we often pray God's safety over major gatherings here in Fayetteville because this is our home. So every time there's a big event downtown at Festival Park, I probably go into my prayer closet, hoping, number one, that people go safely, have a great time, and go home safely. The same is what we need. We need, as a community, to continually be prayerful, but also be vigilant. So the third point I just gave you was that approximately 60% of all deadly church attacks involve firearms, but it also includes knives, arson, and physical assault. The fourth point, which I found very interesting, Dr. Brinkley, was that most attackers aren't strangers. You'd be interested to know that 50% of all violent church offenders are known to someone in that ministry. They're known connections. Half of all attacks on churches are people who've known the ministry. They may be current former members, they might be domestic partners, they might be relatives, they may be people who receive services, food pantry, counseling, benevolence, what have you, and maybe things went wrong. But 50% of the attackers that you find in these sad events, 50% are known to the ministry. So when do these events take place? Where everybody knows, most times they take place between 9 and 1 p.m. Those are the highest risk hours on Sunday. On Sunday, 9 and 1 p.m. are the high risk hours. Why? Because that's our worship time. That's when we decide to come together. That's when we decide to worship. Now, there are people who worship on Saturdays, and there are people who worship on other days. But whenever you're planning to get people together, I can guarantee you that the risk of an event escalates. It elevates. And so that's why these seminars, these actions, these activities, these opportunities to get information, to get training, to be educated, to be engaged by industry professionals, that's why it's so important. It's so important. And so I want you to not be taken off guard by these types of situations. It's not simply news anymore. It's a reality in this country. Right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to move into the next phase of this. I hope you're listening. I hope you're enjoying what I'm giving you, this information. And I need you all to understand that we've got to protect our safe spaces and our faith spaces. This is Dr. Chris Davis. I'll be right back in 1 second.
Healthcare coverage standoff centering on Obamacare subsidies and plans that led to the long government shutdown still needs to be settled. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina thinks the deadline is the end of this year. Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee says North Carolina's 3rd District could be facing major change in next year's midterm elections. Last month, judges allowed the state to redraw congressional maps aimed at flipping a seat to Republicans in the state's only swing seat. Fireworks at a legislative hearing in Raleigh on Wednesday involving the Parents' Bill of Rights and one school district's approach to the law. House Majority Leader Brendan Jones lashed out at Chapel Hill Carborough school officials, arguing that they did not want to fully implement the law. Thursday, the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics is scheduled to publish the discovery of a new planet. Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
I'm Peter Killeen, WIDU Radio News. Fayetteville City Council authorizing City Manager Douglas Hewitt to move forward with an option purchase agreement for an 84-unit attainable housing project. The development, called Central Park Villas, will be located on the city's Catalyst 1 site, a 6.3-acre parcel at the southern end of the Murchison Road corridor. The project, a partnership between JBS Developers and the Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority. A woman arrested Wednesday in connection with a fatal hit and run that happened early Wednesday morning in Red Springs. Kendra Brooke Hunt, charged with felony death by vehicle, failure to reduce speed, and failure to report an accident. She was issued a secured bond. The incident happened at about 12:30 in the morning, the 400 block of South Main Street. A preliminary investigation indicates that 72-year-old Marjorie McNeil of Red Springs was crossing the street when she was struck by a white SUV, transported to UNC Health Southeastern in Lumberton, where she was pronounced dead. From WIDU Radio, I'm Peter Killeen.
Last night's cold front bringing in some colder air. We're definitely going to feel that today. Plenty of sunshine. It will be breezy. Our high temperature in the mid to upper 40s. Tonight it's mostly cloudy. The low in the mid 20s to about 30. We actually have a warm front that comes by in the morning. With that, there could be some flurries and maybe some sprinkles in the northern counties. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies Friday. Upper 40s to low 50s for the highs. Sunshine and milder temperatures for Saturday. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
Attention Fayetteville, 2025 and 2026 Hondas are here at Bryan Honda, your #1 destination for unbeatable deals. New 2025 and 26 Honda Pilots, Accords, Civics, and CRVs are arriving daily. Whether you're looking for style, performance, or unbeatable reliability, Bryan Honda has the perfect ride for you. Need financing? No problem. Our hassle-free financing makes it easier than ever to drive home in a brand new Honda today. And remember, all new and pre-owned vehicles include the first 2 years of maintenance free. Stop by Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, or you can visit us online, BryanHonda.com. What are you waiting for, Fayetteville? Come into Bryan Honda for unbeatable deals. Nobody beats a Bryan Honda deal. Not now, not ever.
Hi, I'm Mitch Colvin, president of Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. For over 50 years, our family has provided professional services with dignity, compassion, and respect with families during a time of need. We realize funeral services are as unique as those we're honoring. We offer a variety of affordable, quality services tailored to meet each family's needs, specializing in burial and cremation services. Proudly servicing Cumberland, Robeson, Hoke, Harnett, Bladen, and surrounding counties from 2 locations, 2010 Murchison Road, Fayetteville, 1904 Elizabethtown Road, Lumberton. For more information, visit our website, www.hmcolvin.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Lillian H. Spearman, pastor of Second Chance Christian Fellowship Church, located at 5238 Delco Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Would like to wish all of you a very, very Merry Christmas. God bless all of you. And if you're not at a local church, come by and visit with us for a powerful service in the Lord. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you. This is Dr. Lillian H. Spearman, pastor of Second Chance Christian Fellowship Church. You're listening to Wake Up.
Welcome back on this beautiful Thursday morning. I hope you're doing well today. This is Dr. Chris, and I'm back. We're in right in the middle discussion, a very important discussion where I'm introducing for the first time here on the WIDU radio station network our Faith Space Being Safe Space Seminars and Expo that's coming up on January 17th, 2026. It's going to be held at Divine Empowerment International Center at 4916 South Main Street, Hope Mills. We partnered with Dr. Kevin Robinson and his new facility. It is an amazing $1 million facility right on South Main Street in Hope Mills going towards I-95. You cannot miss it. We will be there January 17th. There are going to be security professionals. There are going to be seminar leaders. There are going to be vendors. This is a free expo, Free. I'm encouraging all ministries to send one security personnel, someone who represents your ministry. Number 1, to register. Number 2, to come out and get the information and potentially sign up to have these professionals of the Axios Security Group come and do a free assessment for your facility. I'm saying it. It's a free assessment for your facility. Free. They'll come out. They'll come to your property. They'll meet you, pastor. They'll meet your leader, and we'll do a complete walk through your facility, help you identify soft spots, help you identify maybe openings and things of that nature. Why? Because we live in a time where the church is truly under attack. Not just spiritually, but there are people who are often looking for opportunities to disrupt our faith, to disrupt our worship. And the devil knows that if he can disrupt our faith institutions, that he can destroy our community. And so when God gave us this concept that we will offer security awareness, security education, and engagement with security professionals for ministries, why? Because that's where lives are changed. The devil hates to see the body of Christ doing its job. And there's some people who are traditionally stuck in a mentality where they don't understand that we are living in a spiritual warfare and a natural warfare. That's why you lock your door at night when you go to bed. While God can protect you, why do you lock your door? Why do you lock your car when you get in it? Because what's in it is valuable. We feel the same way about your worship space. And so that's why I joined their team. Because as a pastor, I recognize the challenges that our church and other churches have with security, with making sure that our faith space is a safe space. And so to rehash the 5 points I shared, and these are data points that I found from the Department of Homeland Security, from the Center of Homicide Research. These are governmental sites that maintain data concerning faith spaces, concerning churches, ministries, concerning nonprofit. These are all, even middle schools, soft targets. There's so many soft targets. It's amazing that there's so many soft targets that are around the most sensitive and sincere places of our lives, our faith space and our children's education. Elementary schools, soft targets. They really are. They really are. If you ask how well are middle schools and elementary schools covered with security, you'd be surprised to know that there are times during the day when there's no one at the elementary school. And if I was a bad guy, and that's what people generally do, they target those safe spaces, those soft target areas. So number one, houses of worship are one of the top soft target locations in America. After schools, churches. It's a reality. And so that's why we're offering this expo on January 17th. The second point is church violence has increased over the last 20 years. It's not going away. And we see it in the news. We see it every month or so. We see it. There's a big spirit of semantics, but it's not just that. It's anti-faith. It's anti-Christianity. It's anti-Muslim. Like, people don't want people to worship. Bad guys don't. Whatever your choice of religion is, there is an enemy seeking to break up your community of worship and faith. Number three, firearms are the leading cause. It's sad, but it's true. It's one of the responsibility areas that comes along with having a country where Second Amendment rights are so strongly defended and taken care of by legislators. Firearms are involved. I wish we could just pray them away. I wish we could just rebuke the bad guys and they'd run away. But firearms and weapons are a real part of the danger we face. Number four, I shared that most attacks are not strangers. Half of the attacks that people are experiencing, both in schools and in churches, are people who are connected to that institution or who have affiliations with that institution, or they had a bad experience with that institution or that entity or that agency, and now instead of talking through it, instead of solving problems, instead of mediation, they go into violence. A sad but true reality. And that's why we are focused on bringing this information, the seminars, the resources, vendors, sponsors into one environment where you, the faith leaders, and those men and women who you've given the responsibility of being stewards over your ministry, to be in an environment where they can get information to better safeguard your faith space. And the fifth thing is, it happens on Sundays for churches, and it happens on the weak spot hours during schools. The enemies that you face, the enemies the attacks, the things that we've seen, the data indicates that they find the soft target times when the people are most engaged in into what they're doing, so they're not outward looking. When are people most compacted in the same space? That's Sunday morning worship, Bible study, Sunday school. These are times when the crowds are compacted in on Sunday morning. I listened to some of their shooting events that have gone on in certain ministries, big churches, mostly, or threats that they've given, and they always attempt to attack when everyone's in one space, when everyone's a captive audience, and that's doing that worship time. That's doing that word time. The sixth point I'm going to share with you right now is important. The why. Why do bad guys do this? Why do people attack at these times? Well, because that's when crowds are the largest, and that's when security is often minimal. When the man of God or woman of God is giving that word, when God is moving, when we're worshiping, when we're praising, and everyone's attention is on God, your security posture needs to be at its highest. Why? Because bad guys generally target when we're mostly focused in that moment. And that's when the word comes forth. They generally do not hit early in the morning or when you're dismissing. They wait till everyone's in the inner courts. They wait till everyone's in that worship moment. They wait till everyone's in the middle of the sermon. And all of your attention is there to receive from God. And that's when these events have taken place based on data, based on reports, based on investigations. I'm giving you real black and white. I'm not giving you conjecture or what I interpreted, or I'm not exegeting anything. I'm telling you that based on FBI, Department of Homeland Security statistics, law enforcement information, that's when shooting events take place. What makes it even worse is that domestic violence spillover is one of the leading causes of church homicides. Roughly 25% of church daily shootings happen because of domestic issues outside of that church. That means that adults have issues with each other, and it spills over into a safe space. Why? Because for so many of us, for victims, often they're a part of a community where they go for safety, they go for prayer, they go to be a part of the body, and that upset spouse, that domestic argument has spilled over and it comes into that space. Many abusers target victims at the church because they know their schedules. Listen, I don't want you to be unaware of the trends, the tactics, the techniques that the enemy uses to try to destroy our faith. Abusers target victims at church because they know that's their schedule. That links back to half of the time, the people who conduct these attacks, they are known to the body. They are known to the church. They have some connection. They've had some run-in. Pastors, I hope you're listening. Deacons, I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening to what I'm saying so that you can be better equipped for how you analyze, how you plan, how you prepare for your worship. Security needs to be a real component of preparation for Sunday worship. Whether you have 10 people or 10,000 people, every soul is significant to God. And so again, January 17th, this expo is FREE. This expo is free, Dr. Brinkley. This is not a situation where we're trying to raise money. This is free to every faith-based church, every nonprofit. If you've got our community development center that you facilitate things for the community, you need to be at 4916 South Main Street on January 17th. You need to come sit in that place. You can be empowered. You can get tools. You can get information about what contractors can come and give you an assessment. You can, listen, we've even created an opportunity for you to select a person, your senior security person, to be trained, certified in legal security, so that when this event takes place, you're not liable. They're not liable. That's a real thing. January 17th, 2026, 4916 South Main Street, Hope Mills, North Carolina. Free, free. This is at no cost to you. We've got so many partners. I'm just honored. We've got so many other businesses and organizations who see the value of this, because a lot of entrepreneurs are faithful in ministry. They see the value of providing information, of providing training, of providing education for ministries so that we might not be outsmarted by the enemy. We've got to guard and protect this next season in God, this next generation that's coming up. We've got to continue to reopen the houses of worship. And as you reopen them and as God sends people back in, as he sends in new people, they need to be in a safe space. Let me continue. So the 6th point I made was that people attack on those times because that's when crowds are largest. That was the 5th point. The 6th point is that a lot of times the violence comes because there's a domestic situation that took place and it spills over. So all of you counselors and ministries, you pastors who minister couples, this is so that you might be aware when there are abusive situations or there are domestic violence situations. Just keep that in the back of your mind. That needs to be a part of your security protocol. That needs to be a part of your consideration. Number 7. This is very important, mental health. Mental health crisis and personal grievances are major drivers. Mental health crisis. We know that we have a mental health epidemic going on in America across every aspect of society. We know that mental health is something that the church really is working on. In our church, we don't just want you to get prayer, we want you to get counseling. And I've heard every pastor say that. You don't just get prayer. When the Holy Ghost does his job, go to a counselor to do his job. We need counseling for mental issues. And based on the assault on healthcare, the assault on mental health services that we see going on, the church is being required to more and more intervene. That's why there's an uptick on counselors, on pastors and ministry teams getting certified in Christian counseling, because people need counseling. People need therapy. And so mental health crisis drives violence. 40% of offenders had prior behavioral instability. National statistics say that. 40% of offenders of attacks on churches and safe spaces and faith spaces all have documented behavioral instability. That means that they've had outbursts, they've had mental issues, behavioral issues, psychological issues prior to the event. God would not have us be unaware. God would not have us be unprepared. He calls us to discipleship, but he gives us our tools that we need to do it well. And as a pastor, as a senior leader, if you're hearing my voice, I challenge you, I implore you, I beg you to come receive this free information. There's going to be pamphlets, there are going to be handouts, there are going to be presentations. We've got a team that's willing to come to your ministry to brief your ministry team. Because we believe, and we're already seeing it happen, that post-Expo, at the end of January 17th, we're hoping to have a full schedule of visitations that our team can come to ministries and talk to their senior leadership about what are the best practices. Yes, there's a real strategy for how we can do better. Yes, there's a real plan for how we can do better. There are churches who are doing it successfully. And listen to this, here's what's important. They're doing it successfully regardless of how much money they have. So I don't want you to think because you don't have 1,000 members that you don't have what it takes to properly protect your sanctuary. There are ways to be diligent. There are ways to develop proficiency. There are ways to develop that skill set. There are ways to make it happen that fit your budget. Listen, I'm telling you, we found sponsors that are willing to sponsor. Listen to this. They believe in this so much in the community, in this region, that they're willing to sponsor a few ministries that are smaller for one person from their ministry to get certified. This is not a church member. This is a partner in the community who's looking, helping, hoping to make sure that our faith space stays a safe space. So I'm challenging you to come out. January 17th, 4916 South Main Street, Hope Mills, North Carolina. We have flyers coming up in the next week. We've got the link has already dropped. We'll make sure we get it to you. We'll ask to put on WIDU site. You know who I am in the community. I'm going to be posting it on my page, Commissioner Chris Davis. But I'm going to continue with this list because I want to get these points out to you. I want to get these 10 data points to you so that you won't be unaware. And next Thursday, the show is going to be amazing. John's going to be here. Mr. Boyd, the CEO. Miss Bethany will be here next week, as well as one of the senior security guys. We're so honored to have a guy who's a former law enforcement. He does security for politicians. He does armed security for celebrities, for rap artists, and he's a part of the movement, a part of the company. He's going to be here to talk about the reality of guarding, of being on guard. So, as I reiterate the second point, mental health issues are big. Many display warning signs. When people have mental issues, they display warning signs. So what are they? What are the warning signs? Number one, they threat. A lot of times, the assailant threats before they conduct it. Half of the time, 50% of the time, the assailant puts threats either in the public atmosphere, they tell another person. It's not like it pops up. Half of the time, we see the threats. Half of the time, people have documented mental health issues, anger outbursts, have run-ins, and they've threatened to do something in the past. That's how the investigators find the bad guys. So this is real. Social media posts, repeated disruptions, anger outbursts, threats, those are indicators. If you're listening on the side of my voice, God would have us not be confused nor dismayed. Be diligent. This is not about fear. This is about preparation. It's not about fear. It's about faith space being a safe space. It's not about fear. Point 8, most churches have no trained security team. I have to confess, I'm a military combat guy, and in my church, we have a number of military trained guys. We mean combat guys. We have a number of gentlemen who've been in combat, who understand. We have our concealed carry. We do all of our things, all of those things that make us harder as a target. We set our men up in a place and space so that they see everyone who comes onto the property, everyone who leaves the property. We have certain entrances and exits blocked and locked at certain times. And there's a person at those locations in case we need to get out. But you must understand that most churches have no trained security team. Who do you have on your staff who is a trained professional in security? What's most beautiful about this expo is that we're removing the cost. There is no cost. We want you to come and get the information. We want you to be aware. We want you to be engaged. We want you to be educated. We need you to be educated. We need you to be aware of the challenges that ministries are facing, including your own. Most churches don't have any trained team. Studies show that 1 in 4 have a formal security team. We're not even talking about being certified through SBI. I'm talking about people who are identified to act as security in the ministry. And the challenge in Fayetteville is that maybe your church isn't big enough. Maybe you don't have a plethora of men. Maybe you don't have 20, 30 men in your church where you can say 4 of you guys own security. Maybe you only have 1. I tell you, 1 is better than none. If you have 1 able-bodied man, we can ensure, we can help you get certified, get formally trained for security. Because security isn't just personnel. Security is also systems. Security is also practices. So if you can imagine, there are ways to secure your ministry that does not entail having 20 guys on doors. And that's why we're bringing these professionals in, just for you, just for Fayetteville, in this region. That's why we're doing it. Only 10 to 15% have members trained in threat recognition and emergency response. So let's think about this for a second. In our ministry, we're challenging all of our leaders to be CPR certified. We challenge all of our leaders to be first responder certified in case something goes bad. We also challenge our leaders to be able to recognize threats, recognize erratic behavior, without bothering people, without creating a stir. We train our people. We have discussions with our men on what does erratic behavior look like. How can you engage in a way that's not suspicious? How? Eye-to-eye contact where they come through the doors. Greeting, getting them to communicate and talk to you. If there's someone comes to your door and the ushers, the deacons, the stewards have all attempted to greet and shake hands and they're standoffish and pushing people off, you may want to tuck that back in your memory. Make sure that person's okay. Because we have bad days sometimes. Sometimes we come to church for relief. Sometimes just to make it to worship is the goal. And so we're not always at our best. But as security professionals, as security personnel, if you're a part of your ministry security team, you must be able to recognize threats and you've got to be able to react when emergencies occur. Emergency response training. Just like in school, I remember in school, we would have fire drills and hurricane drills. As leadership, you should have your leadership go through emergency reaction protocols. What happens if the church catches on fire? Who goes to what door? Who opens the door? How do we signal people out? These are things that make our house of worship harder so that we're not soft targets. To arson, which is burning down places, to theft. There's so many ministries that have been robbed. I mean, from people taking copper out of your AC units to people breaking in back doors and stealing Bibles. I mean, thieves don't care what they take. They just try to get in your church to take stuff. We have a system where we're connected to a private security company where if someone doesn't put the right code in, it goes off loud, it calls them, and they call us. And they call the police. But every church doesn't have that. That's why we're bringing this expo to you. Last 2 points. Number 9, churches and security plans reduce casualties dramatically. If you have a plan, you're better prepared. That's why the expo is important. January 17th, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 4916 South Main Street, Hope Mills, Divine Empowerment International. And the last thing is, there's federal grants available to help you do this. I hope that caught you. There are federal grants through the Department of Homeland Security for nonprofit surveillance systems, access control, security personnel, panic buttons, hardened doors and windows, and training. There's money in the government to help your nonprofit do this. Call the radio station to get more information. You'll be seeing us out there. I hope this helped you. Listen, your faith space can be a safe space, and it should be, but you've got a role to play in it. I hope you got the information. I hope it helped you. Give me a call, 803-546-1047. That's my personal number, 803-546-1047, so we can get you registered. We'll see you January 17th, and we'll see you next Thursday for the entire team. Listen in. Thank you, Dr. Uncle West. Thanks, Aunt Sandy. Dr. Brinkley, thank you, sir. Have a great day. Be blessed of the Lord.